ANZAC Day commemorations to remember the fallen. LLG Election wreaths issued. And World Malaria Day 2019 targets urban settlements and rural areas.
This is National EMTV News with Helen Sayer.
Good evening, this is Thursday's news. Thanks for your company. World Malaria Day for 2019 targeted school children residing in urban settlements and the rural areas of Papua New Guinea. This morning, the World Health Organization, in partnership with the governments of PNG, Australia and Japan, launched World Malaria Day with the distribution of treated mosquito nets to school children from New Erima Primary School in Port Moresby.
Urban settlements and rural areas were targeted because these areas have poor living conditions, thus generate a high breeding haven for mosquitoes. With the launch of the World Malaria Day, it seeks to educate children from these communities to make aware their parents and guardians on preventative measures against the malaria-carrying mosquitoes. Malaria is a silent killer and a common health problem in Papua New Guinea. The government recognized this burden by making malaria a key objective in the National Health Plan 2011 to 2020 to decrease malaria-related illnesses and deaths.
What does this red thing read at my back? What does it say? Big one, the red one, big one. The big letter there is 0. 0 means we don't want malaria in Papua New Guinea anymore. But how do we get 0 malaria in Papua New Guinea? We are saying it starts with you.
Activities and lessons were taught to the students by the Young Women's Christian Association, or YWCA, before the launch through the malaria program. The key messages behind the program was to always sleep under a mosquito net, get tested when suspecting malaria, and always complete all malaria doses when results confirm positive. Sepuka said malaria is a common disease in PNG, and with a very fast growth rate, individual people are likely to get the disease 2 to 3 times in their life.
You are now engaged to be the soldier against malaria. Am I right, huh? So being a soldier against malaria, for us to have zero malaria, we will always sleep under the mosquito net. We will always go and have a test for malaria. And if it's proven, we will finish our 3-day treatment.
The Minister for Health and HIV and AIDS urged the students not to sell the mosquito nets, but to take them home and use it for the purpose that it was meant to be. Michelle Stephen, National EMTV News.
More communities in Yanguru Sausia are showing interest in the water, sanitation and hygiene project being rolled out in the district. So far, 18 wards have signed up for this project, which will see water tanks installed in communities for better access to clean and safe drinking water. The WASH program aims to cut down on the struggles of walking long distances to fetch water for cooking and drinking.
Since the launch of the WASH project in Yanguru Sausia district, this initiative has reached over 18 wards. This project is being delivered through Oxfam International, with funding sourced from 3 donors. Under the WASH initiative, locals pay the first 10%. The district, through DSIP funds, pays 25%, while the remaining 65% is paid through support from AusAid.
Ogada doctor by talking me main cause blow ogada sick, lo one place, unhygienic practices. You mean wash him hand? You mean cook lo clean blow water? Na sick sabian you become la house line.
In the most recent project launching, Munji RNG, Hinges Marenge and Holik Haramboy wards committed to the WASH project.
You want in place, you know, organize, you know, put him 10%, you can stop. I have 96 wards in Yangaru South district. Me, by giving priority to the place, you smart, you committed, you like in Warana, you put in money for you.
250,000 kina was presented to ward councillors as part of the district's support towards the project's implementation.
First project you bring you come la tribal community pass now. But before you proceed or Oxfam Kalap Narla place na Narla community, please let them la tribal place must satisfy. Because time one you put in 10%, all still what's in money roll stuff. Now suppose if you mistake na Oxfam Kalap or Minister Yulusubula na Kalap ever trouble.
In this part of Yanguru Sausia, women walk for long distances to find water. This becomes more difficult during the dry season.
Nibla save go antemol mama karemol mamu go long way distance no close to Nibla save go kalawi first wara Nibla save kisilem dry lem Nibla save go ken lo nar plus side the big push we big pla diva you stop wara you stop side the place area Nibla walking garden wara sa dry so Nibla go long way location wara lol mambol karem kam lo big pla bung lo time we manin dai Nibla pa ni hard pla time wara la mambo you know saving up.
A total of 278 tanks will be installed throughout the 3 wards in attempts to bring clean and safe drinking water closer to the people, making life a little easier for people in this part of Yanguru Sausia.
Maru emi kam na kisi tengi kam la mipla long kivit sa service la mipla kisi mipla pasta tasola house na kisi wara was na mipla wasila wasin blade suspend one samedi mipla la making ba mipla kisi wara la house it na was na mipla stop.
Thakla Gunga, National EMTV News.
A day before nominations opened for the 2019 LLG elections, Karakuhiri district in Central launched a new local level government. Yesterday, opposition leader Patrick Pruij declared Vanapa Brown Rural LLG in the Hiri district. Karakuhiri MP Peter Isoaimo says the split will not only help in improving service delivery, but become a mouthpiece for the Vanapa Brown communities.
Communities at Vanapa Brown gathered to celebrate the launch of the new local level government. The occasion was graced by opposition leader Patrick Pruij. Speaking to the people, Pruij urged the new LLG to work together with district and provincial governments.
Please provide that leadership with your local member of parliament, with the governor of the province, one time to Narapla member block Central Province. Provide that leadership for Central Province.
This is the second local level government established within a year by the Karakuhiri district. Last month, the Department of Provincial Affairs and Local Level Government approved for the Kuni LLG. For the local MP Peter Isoaimo, service delivery will be achieved if levels of government work together.
For a vast landmass of more than 10,820 square kilometers, with a population of 121,561, it is quite challenging for one member of parliament to deliver.
And with the LLG elections around the corner, people of Vanapa Brown will soon vote for the first president to take office. The success of the launch of the new LLG follows close consultation between Karakuhiri District, Central Provincial Government and the Department of Provincial Affairs and Local Level Government, among others.
Minister Karim go through NEC deliberate and only look seven or need blow one of our Brown River. So NEC lo wisto blongan give him this LLG come lo yupla.
Previously, Vanapa Brown communities were represented by the Hiri LLG.
Today is a new dawn, the launching of this new LLG. I want our people to embrace this. This is your working machine.
Jack Lopave Jr., National EMTV News.
ANZAC Day is more than military history. It is the time to remember the sacrifice of fallen soldiers. This was the message from Prime Minister Peter O'Neill during the ANZAC dawn service at Bomana War Cemetery this morning. Relatives of fallen soldiers, including state dignitaries and Australian trackers who walked the Kokoda Trail, all attended to commemorate this important event in history.
ANZAC Day is held every year on the 25th of April to remember the Australian and New Zealand soldiers who died in battle, especially during the two World Wars. This morning's dawn service saw relatives of the fallen soldiers, together with friends and allies in attendance. The PNGDF participated in a parade with representatives from the Royal PNG Constabulary and the Allied Forces. Poems about the Second World War, together with Bible readings, were presented by various representatives. Prime Minister Peter O'Neill said ANZAC Day is a time to remember the sacrifices the fallen soldiers made for the country.
We must not just remember their sacrifice, but we must continue to remember what they did for us. We reflect on the courage that they displayed, how they rose to the challenges and the threats that they faced. So many brave young people who lost their lives in Gallipoli.
The Bomana War Cemetery is a place where 3,842 soldiers were buried. From this buried, 699 were unidentified soldiers. Papua New Guineans also played a big part in helping the fallen soldiers during the war. The Prime Minister said this is a symbol of growing partnership with PNG.
One could not imagine that at the height of the Second World War, the governments of Australia, New Zealand, Japan, and the United States would one day stand together in unity for the people of Papua New Guinea. This is a symbol of growing partnership between our countries, and it was sealed with a handshake between our leaders of nations.
PNGDF Commander Gilbert Toropo also said similar sentiments of the war and fallen soldiers. He said this creates a bond with the PNG Defence Force and the Allied Forces.
Just as the Papua New Guinea Defence Force's history is inseparable, linked with Australia, with the Pacific Islands Regiment fighting with distinction from Kokoda to Bougainville over the period 1942 to 1945.
For the Australians, the Kokoda Trail holds a big part of their war history. Some Australians also walked the Kokoda Trail to get to the ANZAC dawn service this morning.
For Australians that do the pilgrimage across the Kokoda Trail, to finish the night before and then attend this ANZAC dawn service here at Bomana War Cemetery is probably the highlight of the lives for many of them. This is the most significant pilgrimage an Australian can do.
The dawn service ended with lying of wreath by the Governor-General, the Prime Minister, followed by other individuals from Australia and New Zealand. Rayon Lakingu National, EMTV News.
While ANZAC Day is being observed all over the world in the volcanic town of Rabaul, the occasion recalled some of the worst military defeats of the Allied forces. At the Rabaul Cenotaph, a dawn service was held this morning to commemorate the day and to celebrate the existence of Rabaul town, a former Japanese military base which dictated the course of the Second World War fought on Papua New Guinean soil.
As dawn broke over the laid-back town of Rabaul, about 100 Australian military cadet officers gathered around the Rabaul Cenotaph, a monument built in memory of the fallen. They represented thousands of others who died fighting battles many years ago. Others who gathered for the occasion are related to someone or knew someone who died during the war. The occasion this morning was preceded by a dusk service yesterday evening to pay tribute to the Montevideo Maru, a Japanese warship that ferried prisoners of war during the Second World War. The vessel that was not marked as a POW carrier was torpedoed by a US submarine, killing all 845 on board. Most of them were Australians.
There were no Australian survivors, no fathers, sons, brothers, uncles, cousins or friends survived.
The ANZAC Day began as a day of remembrance for one of Australia and New Zealand soldiers' worst military defeat during the First World War, fought in Gallipoli about 100 years ago. But over the years, the occasion has included other military battles where lives were lost.
Some were prisoners of war and some were interned civilians. All were caught up in the Japanese invasion of Rabaul in the War for the Pacific.
In Papua New Guinea, the Second World War's Battle of the Pacific remained an unforgettable piece of history, where Papua New Guinean natives stood alongside the Allied forces and fought against the Japanese. And it was here in Rabaul's Simpson Harbour that became one of their battlefields. While the significance of ANZAC Day celebrations may seem of little importance to many Papua New Guineans, it portrays a relationship that goes back many decades. It's a relationship that laid foundations and contributed towards building Papua New Guinea as a nation of its own, paid by those who gave their lives as an ultimate sacrifice. Edwin Fidelis, National EMTV News, Kokopo.
Here with Thursday's news, we have more of today's other stories when we come back, including an update on the 2019 local level government elections. Details after the break. Welcome back. 6,375 writs for local level government elections were issued today, beginning the process of elections for LLGs throughout the country. The writs, signed by Intergovernment Relations Minister, come a day after the East Sepik provincial government filed a Supreme Court reference to determine if a National Executive Council decision to disallow the direct election of local level government presidents is legal.
The writs for 6,375 local-level government elections were issued this morning to begin the formal election process for ward councillors throughout the country. The elections, delayed twice previously, seem to be on track, with Intergovernment Relations Minister Kevin Isufu signing the final writs to allow for the commencement of the LLG election process at 10 a.m. this morning. The national government had committed 100 million kina towards the LLG election exercise, with 30 million kina received. The Electoral Commissioner was confident government would fulfill their financial commitment prior to the commencement of polling to ensure successful elections throughout the country.
I also call upon all governments, provincial governments, to mobilize our resources and assist the national government through the Electoral Commission to make sure we deliver a successful 2019 LLG elections. And I expect support from all our districts, our local level governments, and our provinces as we go to give the necessary support that is required to make sure that we deliver our very important election for our people.
Yes, I think 100 million we can manage, and looking at the provinces and I appeal to the provinces once they come and they provide the support. It's for their province. And
at the issuing of writs, Chief Electoral Commissioner Patilias Gamato again reiterated the confirmed dates for the elections, beginning with the start of nominations at 4 p.m. this afternoon. Gamato also clarifying that the limited preferential voting system would be used in these elections. He also reiterated that the elections would only be for ward councillors, with the elected ward councillors to then appoint LLG presidents. This decision in line with a resolution by the National Executive Council in March 2018.
So there'll be no presidential election. There'll be only one election for the ward members. The ward members will then elect the presidents in their respective legislative assemblies.
The NEC decision of March 8, 2018 effectively disallowed the direct election of LLG presidents in the 2019 LLG election process, an issue that has been a point of contention. This issue came to the fore today through the Supreme Court. Soon after the writs were issued, the LLG elections faced its first hurdle. The Supreme Court ordered the temporary suspension of LLG elections. This followed a Supreme Court reference filed by the East Sepik provincial government challenging the cabinet decision that disallowed the election of local level government presidents. As per the NEC directive, LLG presidents would be appointed by ward members in an assembly. East Sepik Governor Alan Bird argued that the decision to report to a mere appointment and not election of LLG presidents is a direct interference of the National Executive Council on an electoral process in the third tier of government. This afternoon, newly appointed Attorney General Alfred Manasseh addressed the media, acknowledging the decision of the Supreme Court earlier in the day, which effectively halted the progress of the LLG elections until such time it dealt with the issues raised by aggrieved parties. According to Minister Manasseh, the state will be applying to have these stay orders set aside to allow LLG elections to proceed as planned for the benefit of the people. The minister also questioning the timing of the Supreme Court reference, especially on the eve of the issuing of LLG election writs. Merabatulo, National EMTV News.
The Public Employees Association has voiced its disappointment with the delay in salary payments for public servants this week. Speaking to EMTV News this afternoon, PEA President Robert Kutapai said the delay by government through its agencies was disappointing, especially given that the state had been scheduled to commence of a 3% salary increment for the years 2017 and 2018 within Pay 9 this pay period. Whilst PEA has acknowledged efforts made by government in paying the increments due, it has raised concerns that the staggered payment approach taken by government is unfair, as workers much of the increment may go towards tax payments.
Efforts by the government to mitigate the liability. The union is not happy with the staggered payments due to the fact that there is no relief on the back pay packet when the tax absorbs the CPI cushion of 3%. Meaning that when the structured payments are put into the pay salaries, we are very much concerned whether they will be taxed or not.
We cannot deny the fact this is bread and butter issue for public servants. Public servants rely on their wages to put bread and butter on the table of their family.
While not much has been said lately about the looming vote of no confidence against the current government, it is believed members of parliament on both sides of the House are in discussion behind closed doors. One outspoken member who was a major player in the 2012 political impasse that led to the formation of the current government has been giving his thoughts on the issue. Vanimo Green MP Belda Nama claims many government MPs are not happy with how the country is being run, despite recent media reports that say otherwise.
The number to remove the Prime Minister is increasing every day. Position of the alternative government is already in place. A government of equals been formed, and this country been rescued from the bad decisions of one man.
NASFund Contributors Savings and Loan Society, or NCSL's aim for this year is to be a one-stop shop for all its members. This was from NCSL's General Manager Vari Lahui at its 4th annual general meeting today. Rayon Lakingu reports.
The 4th annual general meeting today saw the participation of members and stakeholders. The meeting highlighted major achievements for 2018 with plans moving forward. NCSL General Manager Vari Lahui said 2018 was a wonderful year for NCSL.
Comprises mainly of fees, grew by 75% to 2.9 billion. And this is as a result of the large increase in the number of loan applications that we processed during 2018.
One of the achievements was the introduction of the electronic loan application. He said this has enabled more loan applications from members, which saw NCSL processing more than 70,000 loans last year. The company will launch a debit card this year for NCSL members to use at various outlets around the country. The aim is to improve customer service through the use of various technologies and to improve the livelihoods of members.
We want to make sure that at every point of interaction with members that they enjoy the experience. So if there are any issues and I must also add here that we will continue our member survey and we will continue getting feedback from our members on where we should be enhancing our products and services or where we should be reviewing our processes.
Bank of PNG Manager Savings and Loans congratulated NCSL for their achievements last year. He said most of NCSL's plans for electronic loan applications and debit card for its members is a way forward for the institution.
SNL Act will change the way societies operate. We're trying to modernize the new Act so that savings and loans industry can compete and can be like banks, if you like. And I'm glad to see that NCSL is already stepped up to that to keep up with the pace.
Rayon Lakingu, National MTV News.
National MTV News continues with more after these messages, including stories making headlines overseas. Stay tuned for the details. Welcome back to the news. A Seventh-day Adventist community in Kainantu Eastern Highlands was given a Hyundai truck by a security company in Lae yesterday. A Silla security firm based in Lae presented the vehicle to Biliamo SDA Church as part of their community service program. The church members, who are also the landowners of the Kainantu gold mine, travelled to Lae yesterday with the mine's general manager for the presentation. Asila Security was contracted to operate at the Kainantu gold mine 5 months ago. According to the community members, Asila was the first security company to support the community apart from their contract with the mine. The mine came into operation in 2003. Since then, 3 security companies were contracted to operate there, including Asila. The company's managing director, Michael Parr, told the community to support the church and to use the vehicle with care. Lae District Court Magistrate Edward Kupo has told a 50-year-old man accused of alleged sexual penetration on a 10-year-old girl last month to cooperate with the police investigation whilst out on a 500 kina bail. The 50-year-old man is a school principal of a private-run Christian school in Lae. He was charged by Lae's Sexual Offence Squad police for sexual penetration and abuse of trust last month. Magistrate Kupo adjourned the case to the 8th of May, awaiting the completion of police reports.
Lae District Court Magistrate Edward Kupo told the 50-year-old suspect of a sexual abuse crime to refrain from causing trouble whilst out on bail. According to Magistrate Kupo, there wasn't any bail condition imposed. The condition is a requirement that the accused person must follow when out on bail. Failure to follow these terms invites rearrest, new charges and cancellation of the previous form of release. The 50-year-old suspect is a principal and director of a private-run school at Papuan Compound in Lae. He was arrested and charged by Lae's Sexual Offence Squad police for sexually assaulting a 10-year-old girl student. The suspect is a police reservist, a community leader and a relative of the victim. The 50-year-old school principal will appear in court again on the 8th next month. Meanwhile, a police reservist and officer from the Lae District Authority Revenue Division will appear before the Lae District Court tomorrow for producing pornography involving a grade 7 student of Bulolo Primary School in Bulolo District. Julie Badui Owa, National MTV News, Lae.
Enga Governor Sir Peter Ipata says investing in human capital will develop Papua New Guinea. Sir Peter said this at Tak Valley in Enga Province during the presentation of school trucks to 2 secondary schools. Enga Provincial Government's first pillar of development is human resource by investing heavily in their children's education.
Sir Peter says Enga Province has a long way to go like other provinces in PNG, but he is very proud that his government's achievements in education have seen many Engans going on to work in influential positions.
Education is important, so you mean last, that's all. 15 years, God begin now, me catch up.
Sir Peter's free education policy has been adopted by the then O'Neill Dion government and the current O'Neill Abel government, which saw the National Executive Council introducing the tuition-free fee policy. Sir Peter believes that only education can change the mindsets of his people.
Human capital country.
Enga is viewed as a volatile area in PNG in terms of tribal fights and other serious crime, but in the last 10 years, more educated Engans have returned home and educated their communities on the importance of education and change. During the presentation of the 2 school trucks to Sauk Valley Secondary School and Peter Pies RMCN High School, Sir Peter told parents that he will continue to invest in education so that Enga becomes another tourism destination and education and health hub of the country.
Place belong, come up in all nurses and come up. What the place belong, come up in more teacher, all right?
The 2 school trucks may not seem important to schools in cities and towns, but are very important for these 2 schools. It will reduce the traveling distance for many students in Sauk and Wapinamanda area who always walk for more than 2 hours before entering the classroom.
This last school aims at bringing change come home now the community.
Parents are advised to support their children's education and stop tribal fights in their communities. Vasinata Yama, National EMTV News, Mount Hagen.
Turning overseas now, in the last few hours, North Korea's leader has met with Russia's president for the first time. Kim Jong-un shaking hands with Vladimir Putin as he arrives at the summit's venue in Russia. The pair then talked one-on-one, where they're believed to have discussed the future of North Korea's nuclear program.
His armoured train had all but made it into Vladivostok station. But somehow there was just enough time for a last-gasp spring clean by Kim Jong-un's staff. North Korea clearly keen to make a good impression on Russia. Outside the station, Kim was treated to a guard of honour. It's his first visit to Russia. He's looking quite the statesman. 2 summits with Donald Trump have ensured that, even if they have failed to persuade North Korea to give up its nuclear weapons program. The summits with President Putin may produce more ceremony than substance, but if the 2 leaders are seen to get on, it'll be a diplomatic success for both of them. Whenever there's a summit with Kim Jong-un at the table, we've kind of got used to the man sitting opposite being Donald Trump. But this time it will be Vladimir Putin. And that puts the Kremlin leader exactly where he wants to be, centre stage, with Russia demonstrating that it is a global player. Vladimir Putin hasn't met Kim Jong-un before, but he met his father, Kim Jong-il. As for this meeting, the Kremlin has a clear message for America. You cannot solve the world's biggest problems without Russia's help.
And True Guys Sports is next. Don't go away.
True Kai Sports.
Welcome to True Kai Sports. Jonathan Tuhu is ready and confident to win the WKF middleweight title in Port Moresby in front of his home crowd. He and Lee Garup, PNG's Muay Thai champion, are preparing well for their bouts. A Pakistani kickboxer is also preparing for his bout. All will be fighting in the 3rd edition of PNG's Best of the Best versus the rest of the world kickboxing showdown set for Saturday, 4th of May in Port Moresby.
3 kickboxers are preparing for their bouts in the 3rd edition of the PNG's Best of the Best versus the Rest of the World Kickboxing Showdown. One of the biggest title bouts to be held in Papua New Guinea is the WKF Middleweight World Muay Thai title, in which Papua New Guinean Jonathan Tuhu will be taking on Chi Jian Kai for the title. Tuhu has 33 professional bouts with 15 losses, 13 wins, 12 by knockout. He is the WKF Intercontinental title holder and WBC Muay Thai Supreme title holder, and he is confident he will deliver after he lost his previous bout this year in Hong Kong.
Lost because I got cut here with an elbow. Because I fought a taller guy, he come with a right elbow and cut me. So I lost fight. So for this one, I'm sure to win this fight for my home country and my people of Papua New Guinea.
Making the switch from Muay Thai to kickboxing is Lee Garup. The 2-time WKBF Muay Thai World Undisputed Champion is looking to make it big in kickboxing.
The fight in the show on WKF, it's a different sense and it's even huge than WKBF for the Intercontinental title. So that's not Thai boxing, it's a kickboxing fight. So, I'm fighting for a welterweight, but this time I have to put my weight up a bit, 68 kilograms. So if I win this one, November this year, I'll go for a world title. So it's good, I'm happy.
Fighting in the tournament as well is Pakistani Izzatullah Kaka, who came in as a refugee and now is preparing for a chance to fight in Papua New Guinea.
Izzatullah Kaka, I am from Pakistan. So I'm been from here from last 6 years in Papua New Guinea. So especially I feel very excited in this upcoming event. I am fan of every fighter, especially in Papua New Guinea. Jonathan and Lee Garup, they are very big fighters, so definitely it's very good, positive answer for Papua New Guinea.
He is a previous champion in his home country of Pakistan.
Champion in Pakistan 3 times, and I had 3 times. I had participate 2-time World Championship and 1-time MMA camp in Iran, in Russia, Moscow 2013. And Dubai camp 2012, so I'm a professional kickboxer. So.
Freli Sukina National, EMTV Sports.
Preparations are underway for the 3rd edition of PNG's Best of the Best versus the Rest of the World Kickboxing Showdown to be held next week Saturday in Port Moresby. The tournament is headed by PNG's very own kickboxing world champion Stanley Nandex.
The World Title Kickboxing Showdown, PNG's Best of the Best versus Rest of the World 3, is set for 4th of May 2019. The event is headed by Stanley Nandex and his kickboxing promotion, the Headhunter KO Promotions. Headlining the night is Jonathan Tuhu, who will be fighting against Chi Jian Kai for the WKF Middleweight World Muay Thai title. He has been preparing well, and Stanley Nandex is confident the young kickboxer can win the title from his opponent.
There will be a number of series of title fights, which, as we know, Jonathan Tuhu has been doing well on the professional level in Muay Thai. I think what we expect to see is also the first time to see the traditional Muay Thai fight.
On the card also is Lee Garup, synonymous to Muay Thai in Papua New Guinea. He is now looking for his first title bout in kickboxing under the WKF.
On the card as well, we've got Lee Henry Garup, who is also Muay Thai world champion under a different organization called WKBF. This is WKF, which is World Kickboxing Federation. So fighters can be fighting different titles sanctioned by different organizations.
Kickboxers around Papua New Guinea are also gearing up for the chance to make the jump from semi-professional to professional. The kickboxers will open the show at the Sir John Guy Stadium next week Saturday before the main event title fights.
Most of these fighters have been competing in a major level, and part of this promotion is also to elevate them into next level. So now we can identify that whoever is capable of in terms of taking the professional step.
The event is set to bring in kickboxing fans from overseas and is gaining support as a sports tourism opportunity for Papua New Guinea.
People are coming from Melbourne, far as Sydney and Brisbane, even Cairns. So which is a good for our sport as well as for the tourism. And I'd like to also thank the government. I think they have been very much supportive, especially through the Office of PNG Tourism Promotion Authority. Even NCD has actually come on board as they understand the significance of the event, which will bring a lot of good tourism and good exposure for the country.
Fidelis Sukina, National EMTV Sports.
To AFL PNG is set to hold its Borneo Pharmaceutical Lightning 12's AFL Grand Final this weekend at Port Moresby's Colts Oval. The finals will see 8 men's and 2 women's teams. The men's event will play first, where only 4 teams will make the finals and play for the prize money. In the women's division, only 2 teams are set to play the grand finals. In the event draws in the men's division and playing for the top spot in the finals, Gordon's Kokofas 1 will play Lamana Dockers 1. Cats will take on Concept Koboni 2, while in the only women's finals, Lamana Dockers will take on Gordon Secondary. The finals will take place this Saturday. Chukai Sports continues with more after the break. Stay tuned.
Chukai Sports.
Welcome back to Chukai Sports. One of New Zealand's oldest living All Blacks has commemorated ANZAC Day, where it all began. Stanley Frankhill served in the New Zealand Army for 30 years. The former All Blacks captain and lock turned 92 just a few weeks ago.
The famous 1956 Springboks tour seems like yesterday for Tiny Hill. The irony is he was dropped from the second test for being too physical against the brutal box forwards playing for Canterbury.
They're one of the props. We jumped in the line out and he punched me. And I gave this bloke 2 and dropped him. And they saw that and they said, oh, we can't have that dirty bugger on the side, so they dropped me.
Hard-nosed, Taranaki raised Warrant Officer Hill's first overseas posting was as a teenager with J-Force in Japan straight after World War II. Rugby was a crucial part of the rebuild, with Japanese crowds flocking to watch.
We had a damn good side, and we had Tiny White, who went on to be an All Black. We had a number who were leagueies who finished up playing for New Zealand League.
Playing for a powerful Canterbury team in the 1950s, Hill went on to play 11 tests for the All Blacks, including the 56 box tour and against the 59 Lions.
I think I was lucky to make it, but never mind, I made it anyway. I love the game. I play it because I want to play it. The jersey means a hell of a lot, and I think that's it.
While he stayed home as an instructor during the Korean War, after rugby he served in Vietnam.
It was one of those things, you're sent there, you do your duty and you come home.
The harsh realities of the Vietnam conflict hit home during our interview.
All right, can you ring back in a few minutes, Bob? Okay. So, mate, he's been in Vietnam with us. He's got Agent Orange, poor bastard.
During and after his military service, Tiny Hill served Canterbury and New Zealand rugby for decades. Today, more than ever, he misses his rugby and army mates who've passed on.
When you look around, you're on your own.
However, Tiny says he's enjoyed his life by just getting on with it, a code that served him well in rugby and the armed forces.
The New Zealand Black Sticks men and women have had a tough afternoon in their first ever ANZAC Day matches, both sides falling to their Trans-Tasman rivals in the last home match of the World Pro League competition.
On a day with significant meaning on both sides of the Tasman, the Black Sticks were making world hockey history, a first ever ANZAC Day match.
Kenny, and it takes a little deflection.
The hockey rose first on the board, but it didn't take long for Olivia Shannon to fire back.
Great chance, and it's bobbled.
The striker's goal disallowed, deemed to be off the back of the stick, but as the Kiwis kept missing their chances, the Aussies were nailing theirs.
Chalker shoots, Chalker scores.
With a bit of luck, the Black Sticks managed to pull one back.
Lifting that on the reverse stick. Well, the goal has been given. Australia don't have a referral. I think they felt that was high.
Australia clearly unhappy with the decision, coming back just as strong.
And the shot, it's gone through. Feeds it across Hanlon, it's gone in. Fitzpatrick. It's gone in.
A 5-1 loss and a big job ahead for incoming coach Graham Shaw, who starts next week. Hoping to put up more of a fight with the Blackstreaks men, but in almost the exact same fashion, the Aussies put on the early pressure.
Oh, what a shot on the reverse.
There to pull back the deficit was George Muir. And in a shock twist, the Kiwis drew level.
Gotten in recent times as the ball forced it back.
The world number 2 Australians too good to hold out though, snatching a 4-3 win and overall bragging rights across the Tasman.
And that ends your guys' sports. The weather details for the next 24 hours when we come back.
True Kai Sports.
A look at the weather forecast in the southern region. Fine right throughout the region in Popondetta, Daru, Kerema, Alotau and Port Moresby. And that's been the news, sport and weather for today, Thursday, 25th of April 2019. From the entire news team, have a pleasant evening. Good night.